welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin the Geek. You're watching Kevin the Geek, and welcome back to my monthly series where I react and respond to your comments that have been left on videos over the last month. As always, I won't react or respond to every comment that's been left, just ones I can actually give a response to. But first of all, I have to give a humongous thank you to all the new subscribers. 38 new subscribers in the month of October. 14 of those who are named, which should be scrolling through the video right now. Also, in regards to my Patreon, I have to admit, I am astounded at the level of support on Patreon. You know, when I set that up, I was thinking, oh, I'll maybe get one or two people maybe wanting to support the channel, you know, parting with their very hard-earned money to support this little creator here. In October, I had 40 Patreons in total, and 15 of them were new patrons to the community. So much love to each and every single one of you. Again, all of those names should be scrolling through the video so that you can see you all. Honestly, it's just the biggest humongous thanks to everyone. But with regards to Patreon, if you did not see my monthly plans video, what I am going to be doing for Christmas as a Christmas thank you to everyone, basically from the 1st of December through to the 31st of December, anyone who is a Patreon member, whether you are a brand new patron or if you have an existing patron that would be up for renewal in December, fingers crossed, all being well, after having some conversations with the people over at Patreon, I should be able to basically reduce the membership prices by 50%. So as a Christmas gift to you all, if you want to support me, whether you just want to do it as a first time thing, or if you're continuing to support me, then it will be basically half price for you in December. And that's providing it all goes well. I haven't obviously tested it because I can't really test it until the time comes, but that is what I hope to do for you all. Fingers crossed. But of course we have to talk about comments, and first of all, of course, it is a very sad month because Still Game came to an end last month, and there will be a montage at the end of the video where I will put up a number of the comments that people have left with regards to Still Game and it coming to an end, and I'll put that over a montage of some clips of me reacting to the show. I'll look to do that. I think that'll be a nice thing to kind of do, to kind of look back a little bit over my incredible journey over the last sort of year and a half doing that show. But that's enough from me. Let's get reading some of your comments. So glad that you're reacting to Drop the Dead Donkey. It is one of my favourites. It was a fantastic couple of episodes, so huge thanks to my super geek, I think it was Brett who requested that one by being a super geek member of Patreon, and so I did that, and I had a blast watching that one. Drop the Dead Donkey was groundbreaking in its own way, filmed on incredibly short timescales in an effort to stay topical and relevant. This does result in it feeling somewhat dated at times, while it actually looks quite realistic and therefore doesn't look too odd. Often characters are looking at computer monitors while talking to each other. This allowed them to have their lines on the screen, which helped them with the short turnaround between writing and performance. I always have humongous respect for actors who are able to learn those lines, but doing performances myself, it's not always easy learning lines, and some people may think of that as being a bit of a cheat in having your lines on screen and stuff. But if you are doing something like with this show where you are literally basing stuff over events that have happened literally in the last week, I appreciate sometimes you're going to need a little assistance. So I have no problems with them doing that. This message was from Brett, my super geek. Another great reaction. Thanks again for doing this. To answer your questions, the pre-titles voiceover was added to repeats and subsequently the DVD releases for most, but not all, 65 episodes. Yes, the Ridley phone call bit was lifted from the pilot, as well as Damien's farmer calling about the corn circles, and the female anchor scene in the pilot and title sequence, Sally Smedley, played by Victoria Wicks, does appear later on. Sadly, neither David Swift, who played Henry Davenport, and Hayden Gwynn, who played your favourite character, the Asabeg, Alex Pate, are still with us. Well, rest in peace to you both. The cast paid tribute to them both during the curtain call of the recent stage version, which rekindled my love of the show. Let me know if they ever did a recording of that stage show, because if I do more of this show, it would be interesting to see that live show, or indeed if they did any other recordings of a different live show at any point. This is honestly one of my favourite Man Down episodes, maybe my favourite, purely for Brian. I always feel a little bit bad for him. You've got no idea how hard is it raising a kid, do you? I've forgotten what it's like being myself. Damn. Yeah, Brian is the MVP of Man Down. It's got to be said. He's absolutely fantastic. Although, Dan's dad, of course, played by Rick Mayall, he is another brilliant character who sadly won't be in many more episodes. Of course, I've finished series 1 with episode 6, which at the time of me recording this is coming out tomorrow on Bonfire Night, so it will be a couple of days ago as you're watching it. With regards to Man Down, you may have noticed as well, earlier in the day, I did re-upload a couple of episodes because I found that I was actually... My problem is, I think, with certain shows, when I realise that they often get blocked, I typically just then put them onto Dailymotion or wherever, and I don't really upload them to YouTube to actually see if they can be seen. And that's a habit I need to start getting into the habit of, partially because I'm starting to run out of space on my hard drive. I've basically got pretty much the whole year's worth backed up. For the last year of all the videos I've done, and I think what I'm thinking of doing, the first maybe week or two of January, maybe just kind of taking a break from doing my normal uploads, but kind of going back and anything that I'd uploaded to YouTube, uploaded elsewhere, but I haven't uploaded to YouTube, put them onto the YouTube. Even if they get blocked, it means that I've got a backup of them. Because, and this is what I also need to do as well with Dailymotion, I need to go back and basically download episodes of stuff that, again, I've uploaded there, but I don't still have a record of, so that I can re-upload it to YouTube, again, even if it gets blocked, so that there is that backup of that, because there's been a few videos that I've been just getting emails about, and Dailymotion are rubbish. When something gets blocked, they don't tell you what they blocked. They said, we've had a copyright thing, your video has now been deleted, so I can't download it at that point anyway. And if you click on the link that it is, it doesn't tell me what the video was, and the URL that they put in that email doesn't match with the one that I've got here on YouTube, which would tell me, so I can't like cross-reference it and go through and go, right, is it that? No, it's not. So Dailymotion are just awful with that. So yeah, I need to take a bit of time and actually do that, because otherwise I'll have lost some damn good stuff on the channel. So if any of you guys want to go at any point back and let me know of any stuff that you can see, if you click on the link and it says that this video is no longer available, let me know. That'll help me out when I come to do that. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a pain to have to do that. But I need to do it, first of all, so I can clear up space on my hard drive, so I can record more stuff for next year. But also I want to have the backups for them, you know, because I don't want to lose stuff, because I've obviously put in so much hard work creating all this stuff for you guys. That story in Modern Life Exodia wasn't finished because, like most of the rest of the show, it was made up. Oh, Norman. You know what? I don't care. I don't care if it's made up or if it's not made up. The way that Dave Gorman tells his stories, he is very engaging. So, yeah, I don't care if it's made up or not. I still want to know the rest of that story. I'm very impressed that you managed to get this video on YouTube so we can see it in the UK. That's Still Game Series 9 Episode 3. That was Dead Leg Part 1. I usually have to set my VPN and live in Dallas before I can see these later episodes of Still Game. So, similar to what I was talking about earlier, when I've just sort of like uploaded stuff and then not really checked. Still Game, obviously I was uploading them because it was coming up and saying it was partially blocked. So, it was pretty much only people in the UK couldn't see the full-length versions of the later series on YouTube. But with Series 6, it looks like what they're blocking is only like the title sequence, not the rest of the episode. So what I'm thinking of doing for pretty much all of the episodes of Series 9, I'm going to go back, have a look, maybe like try and re-edit the videos and just cut out the title sequence part. And maybe, if that is the case, I may be able to, again, re-upload them at some point so that they can actually be seen by everyone on YouTube rather than having to send you over to the Dailymotion link. That would be my plan with those. Still on that same episode of Still Game, I stopped watching along with you when the original 6 series completed, nothing personal. Having just noticed you've just managed to upload a full episode of the latter episodes, I thought I'd give it a go. Unfortunately, it got halfway through before I realised it's not for me. These latter series are just not the same as the old originals, although the director, Michael Hines, is the same. His directing style seems to have changed. The acting is contrived, the characters are too serious and in some instances downright nasty. The writing is less clever and less witty. Such a shame. Again, we've had these things a lot, and I respect your very diplomatic kind of comment there with that. I would disagree. I personally would disagree. I would agree, yes, at times they have gone for an easy joke. At times they've recycled stuff, like the South Africa one, which they basically reused from the original stage show. Again, at times I can maybe agree, maybe they've gone a little bit overly sharp with, you know, things like we say that they're maybe downright nasty. I wouldn't necessarily say that they're going for nastiness sake. I personally think that when people generally get older, they stop caring a little bit to a certain extent. And so some of that language I think does feel quite reasonable. If you think back to like the character Madge in Benidorm, she seemed to get nastier as she seemed to get older as a character. And I do think, again, from some examples of some people I've met in real life, not many, but in some cases, people do get nastier as they get older because they're just like, well, I'm going to be dead soon. I don't care. So I get what you're saying. I can see a logistical reason maybe behind it. I personally disagree, but that is personal opinion, and we're all, all entitled to have our own opinions. But I respect your opinion, as I hope you can respect my opinion. 30 minutes in on the September responding to comments video, I just noticed the annoying background music. It's basically the same background music I now use in every video, whether it's a reaction, whether it's responding to your comments. It's always the same volume, which I don't think is too loud. It doesn't overpower me or anything else that's going on. Well, yeah, obviously it's not going to go through the reactions, but yeah, it's basically when I'm talking for the intros or the outros or these kind of videos. Yeah, I personally, I don't like doing the videos where it's just literally me talking and nothing else. I think having a bit of background music just adds a bit of ambience, but you're welcome to your opinion once again. An update from Jamie. It seems like our monthly update. Yes, me and Joanne are doing a lot better now. I'm able to drive short distances and walk my dog again, but still not able to get back to work. I think that's 12 or 13 weeks now, so it's been a long time. Joanne's wrist will need extensive physio to regain mobility, as it's only around about 20% strength and movement now, with ongoing pain but improving slowly. She's back at work as an office manager, one-handed for the time being, and myself as a chauffeur. We're a lot better. Thanks, Kevin, and for all the other viewers who've reached out. But if your partner Joanne is the person who is the same Joanne that I mentioned, well, for you guys it'll be about a week ago when I did the Still Game Ultimate quiz. Make sure Joanne contacts me, because I don't know the surname, but Joanna was one of the 2 winners who did win the overall quiz and therefore won a guaranteed reaction from me. So if that is the Joanne, make sure that you kind of let me know. So far, neither of the 2 people have actually responded to me yet. It's only been like a day or so far, so I'm giving them a bit of time. But I'll follow up with an email shortly if need be. But Jamie, it is really good to know that you and Joanna are getting better. So yeah, keep us updated as always. I don't know if anyone said, but there's also a 10-year anniversary documentary for Benidorm. It's quite good from what I remember. At the time of this comment, I wasn't aware of this. Someone else has since also left me a similar comment about this 10-year anniversary, who's recommended I watch it in between series 9 and 10, because apparently it kind of aired before series 10. So I will probably do that. Whether I get around to doing it at the end of this month before Christmas, or if I'll have to wait till the new year before I start series 10, I don't know. My month is, it's filling up quite quickly, and I'm rapidly running out of time, as it always seems to be. So yeah, I'll maybe this month, maybe New Year. Which girl from your school ended up on Babe Station asking for a friend? Yeah, sure you are. If you didn't know, the main actor playing the neighbour in Not Going Out was Andy Linden. He played the character Mundungus Fletcher in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. So in this whole episode, when he was speaking, I just kept shouting, "Nip it, Mundungus!" I'm very annoyed at the fact that I did not realise that. The moment you said it, it made complete sense, and I completely remembered him, but I did not realise that at the time. So thank you, Callum, for pointing that out to me. I love your channel, Kevin, I really do, and I will always respect others' opinions, but will respectfully disagree about the quality of the comeback. Having watched this show literally over 100 times, the reason I felt it wasn't as good was because I felt it was forcing laughs in the writing as opposed to getting laughs naturally, forcing things like "shut it, Tadger," as if they were going to create a catchphrase for people to use, rather than, again, people using phrases naturally day in, day out in conversation. Such was its impact. Lastly, I was livid when they repeated the original stage show gags, in the series, such as the South African story, as if they couldn't be bothered coming up with anything different. In saying that, there are a few gems, I agree, but on the whole, it wasn't for me at all. A massive Still Game fan mate said to me that he loves it, but treats it as almost a different sitcom to enjoy it fully. Perhaps he was right. This is obviously a similar comment to what we had, a short while ago. Again, I would agree with the South Africa one. I thought that was quite lazy. I should have spotted it coming, and I didn't, and that annoys me. The Shut It Tadger one, I guess I can kind of give it a little bit of a pass, considering that, he sort of said it, but then they sort of doubled down on it later on in the episode where they really did try to make it a catchphrase, and I think that sort of spoke about how the internet and things like the TikTok generation tends to be these days, that they do try and force stuff when it doesn't naturally occur. So I get what you're saying, and again, I have an understanding of where they're kind of going with it. So again, I respect your respecting of my opinion. I completely respect your opinion, and I respect your friend's opinion, where it says it can sometimes feel like a different sitcom. Again, I personally don't agree, but that's my personal opinion. Last year, the New Zealand accent was voted most sexy in the world. I'm from New Zealand, and even I can't back that. The same survey did put South Africa in the top 5, which is probably the least sexy accent I've ever heard. Welsh wins the most weird accent for me. Sounds like someone who's put their vocal cords in backwards. So this came from the Benidorm episode, where Billy, they were talking about sexist accents, and Billy went on a whole thing about putting on an Australian accent. Now, I think I might have found the survey or whatever it was that has apparently the top 50 sexiest accents in the world. I'm going to go through the top 10. I will probably try, if I remember, to put a kind of scrolling thing so you can see all of the top 50. So the first is the New Zealand accent, or the Kiwi accent. They say in it, to a novice ear, the New Zealand accent might sound just like the Australian accent, but Big 7 travel readers disagree. The New Zealand dialect is outrageously charming. The sexiest accent in the world? It's official. Second is South African, apparently. Afrikaans is a hugely popular accent with many people across the globe thanks to their unique tones and Safa slang. Third is Irish. Fourth is apparently Italian. Fifth is Australian. Apparently, pronouncing words long and slow and often skipping the ends of them completely is a real turn-on, apparently. Australian language is very similar to British English with a few twists such as words Donnybrush for toilet brush, Bonza for great, Ripper for a really great surf, Avo for avocado, and Arvo for afternoon. Oh god, no, I hate that. Arvo. A lot of my fans will be very happy with this one. Sixth on the list is apparently Scottish, which, I'm not going to lie, surprised me. I didn't think that would be that high. That really surprised me. You know, nothing against the Scottish accent, but I think probably because I've mostly heard my Scottish accent from Still Game and from Rapsy Nesbitt, where it's quite gruff sounding at times because of the characters that are speaking them. Maybe that's why that's caught me off guard a little bit. Well, hey, you know, this is apparently official. Apparently. Seventh is French. I'm really not keen on the French. Eighth is Spanish. I do quite like the Spanish accent. I'm not going to lie. Ninth is Southern American. So, like, yeah. It says, who can resist a slow Texan drawl? Not us and not our community, clearly. You'll also find in this accent in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Kentucky. I mean, the one and only time, I mean, obviously I'm not gay, but the character Sawyer from Lost, he was very a southern thing. I always thought, like, if I had a man crush, he probably would have been my man crush. I would say more the hair, more than the voice, but I can kind of understand it. I think with the right person, it could sound good, but yeah, I'm surprised with that. And 10th on the list is Brazilian Portuguese. I'm not quite sure how that differs from regular Portuguese, but yeah, apparently it says Brazilians have quite a strong accent with Italian influences, adding extra attractiveness to the accent. Well, you can be the judge of that. But yeah, Queen's English is 12th on the list. 18th is Yorkshire. I'm just trying to pick some out here. I know I saw Scouse is apparently 32nd, so that's quite low down. Then I know I saw another one. Geordie, the Geordie accent from New Zealand. That's apparently 41st. And Welsh, which is one that I do consider quite sexy, is 45th out of the 50. So yeah, there you go. That is the top 50 there. Yes, I love Upstart Crow, one of my favourite shows, so incredibly funny. David was born to play Shakespeare. I do hope you'll watch more of this whenever you have the time to do so. Well, I need to complete other shows to do that, which is something I would like to try and do again maybe in the early part of the year of 2025 and get some shows finished. So maybe pause on some of my more regular stuff just for maybe a couple of weeks or so, get some of those other shows completed. That will open up more slots on, like a monthly basis and stuff. So yeah, we'll have to see with that one. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing more Upstart Crow. I like that. Outnumbered, Series 2, Episode 1. Angela deserved that kick. And that poor vicar had the patience of a saint, getting cornered by both Ben and Karen. Just one would have been a challenge. Yeah, I feel that way sometimes when I see my nephew. And my nephew's just turned 4 now last month. So every time I see him, he just seems to be getting older and witty. So I'm going to be really interested kind of watching this show and then kind of seeing my nephew and just seeing how he kind of develops and how he talks, and whether he goes into some of them kind of quirks. It'll be interesting to see with that. I'd love to see you try the series of Beetlejuice as well as the movie. Both are good, but quite different in tone. When I first saw the movies for the first time, my feelings about it were heavily coloured by disappointment over how different it is. But now I can appreciate it as a good movie in its own right. Actually, I could almost say the same about the Addams Family. That's interesting that you saw the series before you saw the movie, because obviously the movie came first. From what I read up about the series, it does seem that they tried to make it a little bit more friendly for families and for kids. So, I mean, of course I haven't seen it yet, but that would make sense, because it was a fun movie, really good fun. But it was quite dark in places, so I can understand if they're going for the more family angle, why that would seem quite different. How do you not know the world famous Amy McDonald? How is it that I've never heard of Benidorm and so many of these old shows that I've been doing, like Drop the Dead Donkey and things? It's because in my mind I was very restricted when I was a kid. I didn't like to expand my horizons. I mean, Amy McDonald, when it comes to music, it's quite possible I know her or I know of her songs, but I don't know it's her. Because that is a big thing. Like, so many times I could be listening to radio and go, oh yeah, this is a banging tune. What's the song called? Haven't got a clue. Who sang it? Ain't got a clue. So yeah, it's quite possible I know her, just I don't know her, if that makes any sense. I love this episode of Benidorm. Loretta and Eddie are the best parts of this series for me. I think that Loretta and Eddie are very underrated as characters, because particularly Loretta, I think she could be seen as the Madge surrogate replacement, and because Madge was such a beloved character of the show in many cases, it makes sense that they go, well, she's just a carbon copy and she's just maybe a bit more northern and yeah, whatever. I really like them. I think them as a pairing is really good. And the episode, which I think was the one that came out Monday just gone, where there's no alcohol to be seen in Benidorm, when they get the knockoff booze from Mr. Wu, and how pissed they get. That was just hilarious, seeing them there. And then maybe they just need to get pissed more often with each other so they can actually get along. Maybe that's what they need to do. In Goodnight Sweetheart, Gary's income kind of bugs me because he wouldn't be able to sell 1940s records in the present day. The material they use slowly change colour over a period of 15 to 20 years. So if you show an antique dealer one that looks like new, they would have to assume it's a modern replica. Maybe he should rent a safe deposit box, pay for 60 years up front, and use that for anything he wants to send to the present, so that it would be technically aged correctly. But this is more of a character-driven show, so the technicalities of time travel aren't such a big deal. I do kind of agree with you to a certain point, because these are the little nitty-gritty details I will focus on that a lot of people are like, why are you focusing on them? What's the big deal? Well, I don't know. There's something about me. I focus on these kind of things. What I would say is I have actually seen in real life, I have seen very well preserved vinyls and records from the sort of the 40s and the 50s, and I think it does depend on how you store them and where you store them, because if you store them in pretty much an airtight container, which you might have been lucky to be able to do, although they do show some aging, it's vastly reduced compared to if you were to put them, say, in a safety deposit box and air can get to them. So it can happen. It's very rare because the reality is, very few people actually manage to have access to an airtight container, but they were probably more common back then than you were able to get these days. I love how silly Goodnight Sweetheart is starting to get, to the point it's quite surreal at times. I'm also loving these end of episode cliffhangers. I think it is a show that is really good at having cliffhangers that pay off, episode by episode. There's not many shows that do that. Most traditional sitcoms, they just seem to be, this is an episode, we have a story, We round it off and we finish it by the end of the episode. And that's kind of it. But by the way, just sorry in case you're hearing fireworks in the background. I am recording this the night before Bonfire Night, so you may get a few extra fireworks. So apologies in advance for that. But yeah, I think the show it does just do a good job at kind of, you know, making sure that the story is continuing on and makes you want to keep watching. Like the one where Gary, he has that whole thing about him going to the two things back in the past. Was it that episode? Or whichever one it was, where Gary ended up getting drunk and then he came back into the present and basically got arrested for drink driving. That could have just been like, yeah, he's been arrested for drink driving. But no, they followed it on. He lost his license. That meant he then lost his job and so on and so forth. So yeah, I really like how this show is doing it. It's quite a rarity, I think. For my Series 7 opener review of Doctor Who, I'd seen a version of Carmen at uni about 2.5 years before this episode aired, but had either forgotten about the link or missed the reference entirely, so thanks for pointing it out. I sympathise with being sent out of the dining room at your mum's old house too. Well, just to clarify, that was not me being sent out of the room, that was me choosing to go out of the room, because I hate people talking over me when I'm trying to watch something for the first time. I want to just be able to focus and everything, which is quite ironic that I say that, considering obviously a lot of what I do is reactions and I am talking about it. But in reality, what I'm doing when I'm doing reactions is I'm just vocalizing what I would be saying inside my head anyway. So it's not that much of a distraction for me. And obviously you guys are coming to watch it for a reaction, so you know what you're getting anyway. So yeah, with the Carmen reference, again, it's something I don't necessarily think I always necessarily catch on the first time anyway, and that's why I like doing these reviews, because when I've watched them and I know what the episode's about, I know what the storyline's about, I can focus on the little things and try and come up with something about them. So yeah, that's why I like doing them. Watching Chucklevision as an adult, you realise it was basically an endless barrage of dad jokes. I think most kids shows are really, when you watch them as an adult, it's quite surreal watching them as an adult, because there's a lot more jokes intended for the adult audience than you realise. I saw your post yesterday and I thought, no way would it be Chucklevision, so I didn't leave a comment. How wrong I was. My favourite Chuckle Brothers Halloween programme was the Spooky Goings On live show, but it's an hour long, but great fun. Well, remind me of that next year, and I might do that for next year as well. From my Still Game rewatch of the first ever episode, funny how after the van exploding, Jack's 3-piece suite still managed to make it into his flat. I completely missed that. Even though I watched it for the second time, I somehow managed to miss that. The other thing I actually managed to miss, which someone else mentioned in a different comment, was how in this one, I think there was a mistake at the name used for Victor's son. I think in this pilot episode, they referred to his son as Jamie rather than John, but made a note of the fact that he lives in South Africa. So it's either that Victor has got two sons who both, somehow ironically, both live in South Africa, or that was just a big continuity error in later episodes. Hi Kevin, how do you make a Super Geek request? So, for those of you, if you are not aware, with my Patreon, at the moment I have 4 tier levels. I have the most basic entry level one, which is basically just where you don't really get many benefits. It's just a little bit of money to support me, basically. The next level up is the one that most people are signed up to, which is the one where you basically just get early access to my content. Then you have the Boffin tier, which in addition to the early access, you get access to my full uncut movie reactions. And the last one currently is the Super Geek tier level, which is, again, where you get access to everything I've already mentioned, but you also get a guaranteed reaction each month. When I set that up, that was originally only available for 1 person per month. I then expanded it to 2 people per month, and now it's further been expanded to 3 people per month. I don't know how many will be the maximum I can get to, where I feel that it'll stretch me out too much. Because at the moment, how I do them is I try and do those guaranteed reactions. So if, say, for example, you're a member for this month, for November, in the month of December, I will make them available, first of all, for those Super Geek members so they can watch it first. Then I'll make it available for the rest of the patrons. And then usually it'll be the next month that I will then release it onto YouTube. So coming up later on this month will be a Mock the Week reaction and Merlin, the first episode of Merlin, which were both reactions that I did last month as my Super Geek reactions. So, yeah, at the moment, the slots are fully filled up. I may possibly, at the moment, I've just kind of left it that if you're happy to continue being a Super Geek member, I will just let it continue. I think there's a thing where technically I can make it expire so that they automatically unbecome that member at the end of the month. So I might have a look at it that in the future I say, let's do it on a rolling basis. You kind of end your Super Geek thing for the month, give possibly other people the option to have the Super Geek option, or I may expand it. Yeah, I'm still learning, I'm still kind of playing around with it, so obviously bear with me with that, but I'll try and announce it next time when I say I'm opening up a 4th slot. If you want to do it, come along. Will you be doing the Aberdeen Comic Con Q&A with Paul, Jane, Gavin and Sanjeev from Still Game? Could be fun. I wasn't even aware that this was even a thing. So Aaron has sent me a link for that, so that is quite possibly something I may do in the future at some point. So yeah, I'm still doing Still Game content, even though the show has ended. Tim Healy won't be in the second half of the upcoming series of Benidorm after he was hospitalised with a mystery illness. He flatlined during Series 9, ended up in a coma in ICU in a Spanish hospital for a month. Darren went on to explain that Tim had filmed the first 3 episodes of the series before becoming incredibly unwell. Well, I obviously don't know whether Tim eventually passed away or if he's still with us. I hope he's still with us. Of course, I don't know whether he's back in Series 10 or not, so nobody's spoiling anything for me. But, it now makes sense because I have kind of said that the character Neville, it did feel very Les-like. And it felt like sometimes it could have felt like the lines were originally written for him. So thank you for that clarification. It now makes a lot more sense for me. Definitely continue reacting to Inside Number 9 until you've seen every episode. It's easily one of the best television shows of the last 10 years. And I would even say of all time. But that is very high praise. And I definitely intend to do more Inside Number 9. I can't remember if I've put one in for December. Let me have a quick look. Yes, I have actually. So there is another Christmas episode. Series 5, Episode 3, apparently, is a Christmas one called Love's Great Adventure. Someone else has said that a really good one is, I think it's the 12 Days of Christine or something like that. I think from here on out, maybe apart from going sideways and maybe doing like the old Christmas episode for Christmas, I will probably continue doing them in order now. So the next time I do a normal episode, we'll be starting with Series 2. From the Scary Game Scary Game? What am I talking about? Scary Movie reaction. The WhatsApp! That apparently came from a Budweiser advert, and this is a parody of said advert. Well, okay, now at least I know the answer to that one. So again, thank you for informing me. A Scary Movie reaction around the same time the 6th movie was announced, with the Wyans returning during the Halloween season. Coincidental timing much? Yes, complete coincidence. I did not know that at all. It was just one of those, I'm like, I want to do some comedy Halloween movies. What ones are there? Had a look at the list and I'm like, I'll go for them. I didn't really think that much behind it. So, interesting. I knew there was 5. I didn't know they were coming back for another one. Gotta say, it was a nice ending for Still Game, but a complete throwaway subpar episode. So this is the final comment I'm responding to. Obviously, like I said, I'll be doing a montage in a minute with all of your wonderful comments, because there were so many comments left on that video. It is a huge video for me. I mean, it's already in basically like a week or so already become I think it's the 16th highest Still Game episode in terms of viewing numbers. So a lot of people came in for that, although I think more so a lot of people came in for the very last kind of section of it to probably see how I reacted to the obviously the ending of the show. And I do think that the ending was just beautiful. Absolutely gorgeously done. I would agree that the rest of it was a little bit lackluster in comparison to all the others, and I did say that in the reaction, but it wasn't about the rest of the episode for me. For me, it was about how they ended it, because you've done 9 series of this show. It's 65 odd episodes. It is all about how you end it, and if you can end it in a way that pays homage to the show and really just does the right thing by, you know, rewarding the fans, I think, in a way, that is what you need to get from that final episode. And they did. They gave us laughs, but they gave us the most amount of heart, as they always do, and they left us with a beautiful, beautiful moment and a tear in your eye. And I am sad it's over. But like I said, I'm not kind of stopping with my still game content. There will be stuff that will come through. Now, I have mentioned about something I'd like to do as well. I'd like to do a bit of a ranking of the best episodes of the show, me versus you. And tomorrow, as this is due to go out, I am doing a reaction to Burniston, the sketch show that is, I would say, kind of rivaling to Chewing the Fat. First of all, you've got to see that episode because it is the one that features the infamous voice-activated lift episode. 11! I can't do Scottish accents to save my life. So maybe that's why I'm not in the top 10 list of the sexiest accents in the world. There you go. But yeah, make sure you check that out, because I do talk about that ranking that I'm planning on doing, and I've developed a Google form for you guys to have your votes, or where you basically have to choose what, in your opinion, in no particular order, is the top 10 best episodes of Still Game. Once I've kind of tallied everything up, I will then put out kind of further sub kind of polls to try and determine an order out of the most voted for best episodes of the show. So yeah, we'll have to see how that one goes, but that's what I'd like to do with that. I've obviously spoken about re-uploading Still Game episodes, and one that I've realised as well today is I've actually got one of my episodes from the original first 6 series is completely blocked. And that was the episode, if you remember, that I had somehow completely managed to miss. It was the Scran episode from Series 2. I recently had a copyright thing on it. I mean, I'd always had a copyright thing about the show, but I had an extra copyright thing about a piece of music. It was that Green Onion song, and that was a bit where I think it was where like Jack and Victor are, doing this stuff in the shop and kind of doing their own stuff, and that song is playing over the background. That came up as a block, and it's literally a worldwide block. I've submitted a dispute, which has been rejected. So I will try and do an appeal at some point, but I need to make sure I download the video first, so I've got the file for it, because if they reject the appeal, they will delete the thing and I have to remove it from YouTube. So if that ends up being the case, then I will re-upload it, but I may have to just make some edits to that little portion of it, maybe mute the music or something. I may have to put some subtitles, because obviously that will mute my voice as well. So yeah, I'll have to see what we can do with that. Hopefully an appeal will go through and they'll just go, yeah, fine, whatever, because it's not, you're not coming to watch the episode to listen to that song. It's just, it happens to be in that. So we'll have to see. We will have to see. But that is going to do it for my responding to my reaction. So now let's just see some more of your comments, along with some great moments from Still Game. Thank you very much, as always.